Hello again. I'm Jim Bernheimer, author of the Deadeye and Spirals of Destiny series available from Griffinwood Press, as well as the author, editor, and publisher of the Horror, Humor, and Heroes short story collection and follow-up anthology, and the recently released Confessions of a D-List Supervillain, which has also been adapted into an audiobook. Today, I'll be reviewing Wearing the Cape by Marion G. Harmon. Many of the people that are buying Confessions are also purchasing this one, so I decided to check out the competition in a friendly sort of way. I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 stars on the Amazon scale. The positives are a well thought out universe and a main character that evokes empathy from the reader. His novel focuses on the heroine Astra, aka Hope Corrigan. She can fly, has super strength, and is semi-invulnerable. She would be this universe's rough equivalent of Supergirl from DC Comics. In the world Mr. Harmon has created, a white event similar to Marvel Comics' old New Universe line or the 4400 television series unlocks superpowers in some and planted latent seeds in others. When faced with a life or death situation, a person can have a breakthrough, and how they confront this scenario often determines what powers they achieve. I found this aspect of the story very well thought out. In Hope's case, an explosion drops part of a freeway on top of her and she's buried under tons of earth. Growing up with a group of older brothers, she learned that when pushed, push right back, hence the super strength. A different upbringing might have had her turning into a ghost, teleporting away, or striking back with bolts of energy. This concept lays a solid foundation for the superhumans inhabiting Mr. Harmon's world. It even accounts for the Jules Verne type of heroes and villains who are the gadget makers. In a nod to steampunk aficionados everywhere, they can construct bizarre and amazing technologies, but can only use them, and there's a very limited ability to reproduce the gear and weaponry, which explains why there's no world of tomorrow. Hope is a young woman just out of high school and about to start her freshman year of college in Chicago. The bomber who engineers her life or death situation is the mysterious tea time anarchist, who originally seemed to be an untouchable prankster but has lately turned more toward outright violence as he pursues his hidden agenda. Digging her way out of the wreckage, saving a few along the way, but not nearly enough, she encounters Atlas. He's one of the A-list superheroes and the de facto leader of the Sentinels. In keeping with the rules the author has created, Atlas follows protocol when dealing with a new breakthrough. When there isn't anyone left to save, he gets her out of there so she can be tested and given the rudiments of training so she won't accidentally shake someone's hand and crush their bones to dust, while she decides what to do with her new powers. Like most children growing up, Hope had dreamed of becoming a cape. A shocking incident in her mid-teen years caused her to put aside those ideas and focus on where her life choices needed to be. Now she must decide whether or not to pursue the lifestyle she'd fantasized about, but with the sudden knowledge that all that glitters isn't necessarily gold. Again, the author has the gumption to show us a world where capes have unions, groupies, and inner demons and vices as well. I suppose it would be a good time to mention that long-running crush Hope has on Atlas. He gives her the opportunity to train directly under him as his partner/sidekick. The story is told in the first person, and Mr. Harmon does a credible job of helping the reader get into Hope's mind and letting her insecurities show through. My only criticism in this area would be that the author could have developed some of Hope's personal relationships further, and that a few things felt forced, while a couple of others, most notably her pre-breakthrough friendships, never really amount to anything that impacts the plot. Overall, the story delivers solid action sequences in a very believable world, and I look forward to seeing the sequel the author is working on. I highly recommend this book to those who like any comic book story in novel format. Now I'd like to do a quick interview with the author, who was kind enough to respond to my emailed questions. His answers will be read in by the computer voice. First question. Tell us what inspired you to write Wearing the Cape. Assuming you're a comics fan, what comics influenced you the most?
This one question could fill an article. A childhood love of superheroes, to start, added to a lifelong habit of modern fantasy and science fiction. In serious science fiction, especially, Writers often ask the question, what would really happen if we made contact with aliens? We mastered faster than light travel. Genetic engineering allowed us to breed dinosaurs, or time travel is possible? Wearing the cape grew from the question, what if superhumans really existed?
Interesting answer. All right, here's the second question. You put the story out under your own imprint. Tell us what you learned as a result of your adventures in publishing.
That it's a slow start. I recommend every new writer try and find an agent and publisher first. That said, the market is evolving and self-publishing is becoming a new road to success. An agentless author can find readers and build a following. He can also self-publish before he's ready.
Agents? We don't need no stinking agents. Nah, just kidding. If any agent would happen to like to contact me, you can visit my webpage. Anyway, third question. Since one of the aspects of your story that I found most interesting was how a person responds to adversity being their determining factor in their breakthrough, what kind of breakthrough would you have had in Hope's place? Would you have pushed back, escaped, made yourself impervious to the threat?
I've never been big on confrontation, but don't like backing down, so probably C. I'd become impervious to the threat.
Okay. Fourth question. How important was the realistic aspect of the world you were creating in wearing the cape? Did you go out of your way to ensure that things made sense, or did it come fairly naturally to you?
I think of the setting of wearing the cape as its own character, so consistency and realism was vital. I think a lot of it was just common sense. Of course superheroes would be licensed. Of course they'd be media celebrities. Of course wannabes would get killed trying to become superheroes, and so forth. Truthfully, my various reality checks drove much of the plot. Some things that would have been cool didn't happen because I felt that, realistically, they couldn't.
Okay, next question. With all the recent superhero-based movies and television shows that have had various levels of success, do you think it's a good time to be an author in this genre, or do you worry that will be the next thing that's overdone in the way that vampire and zombie books have been?
Considering how long the vampire craze has lasted and how many genres it's penetrated, I think that there's always room for one more good story. Certainly the field of superhero literature, and I'm not talking about comics or novelizations of comics or comic book superheroes here, is far from crowded.
Okay, here's your next question. I just released my novel as an audiobook and want to make some contacts with artists and perhaps test the waters of the graphic novel market. Are you considering this and other ventures as well?
How could I not dream of a graphic novel? Or even the holy grail of every author, the movie or television deal? For now these are dreams, not plans. But if Wearing the Cape sells well and its sequels are well received, why not?
Okay, here's the last question. Tell us about the sequel. When can we expect it? Do you have any teaser information you'd like to leave us with? And what other projects are you considering working on aside from this universe?
Villains Incorporated is a direct sequel to Wearing the Cape: The Adventures of Astra, Part 2. It takes place 4 months after Wearing the Cape and deals with the social, political, and personal fallout of events in the first book. It's also something of a murder mystery, with the twist that they were trying to solve a murder that hasn't happened yet. Bite Me Big Easy Nights is a spin-off novel. It will probably be out before Villains Inc., and it deals with Artemis, according to some readers, the most interesting character in Wearing the Cape. It's a vampire story set in New Orleans, and I hope to have it done and published in October. I never thought I'd be writing a vampire novel, but it does for vampires, werewolves, witches, and other supernaturals what Wearing the Cape does for superheroes. The first chapters of both books are available at uwriteon.com, where I submitted them for critiquing.
That's all for now. I'd like to thank author Marion G. Harmon for participating, and all of you for watching. For more information on his works, you can visit his blog at marionharmon.wordpress.com, and for more information about my works, visit jimbernheimer.com.